Record. Right, now. Oh, it's so hard to navigate this screen. All the buttons get in the wrong place. Oh, there we go. Yeah, right, we're on. So what I want to talk about, and this is actually total transparency, because I'm not going to lie, there are women that come into this program who do not achieve what we want them to. And I want to break down some of the reasons why those things are. Or when you come into this program and in your first check-in, your first couple of check-ins, these are the things that we can immediately notice. And if you listen to us and actually take on the advice that we give you, it can be the difference between you succeeding and not. And I just want to be completely transparent. And obviously, you guys absolutely crush it. But there are some people who still really struggle to accept that what we're telling them is the truth. And I just want to break it down so it's super clear. Now, normally we would start by doing the announcements on who's done incredibly well. Now, there is actually one. I didn't put it on here, but I did see it the other day. So a woman called Marcy has officially dropped her first stone, which is obviously a massive achievement. But actually, everybody is doing incredibly well. So as you know, Kat and I gather every single week and go through, and everybody felt like they were crushing it this week. So it's a gold star all round to everybody. So well done, because those are the kind of weeks where, as your coaches, and I know there are times where people go on holiday, people come back, they do different things. We've had illnesses that are rife across the program, you name it. But the last week felt like a really incredible week to just sit back and see you all do fantastic things. So the first thing that is massively going to derail you, and quite honestly, I don't care who the fuck it is, this is one of those things. There are people that come into this program, and I mean, I'll be honest, I actually don't really understand this one, but where some people just say, I'm only eating one meal a day. That's it. That's all I eat. And they will literally list off. And obviously, in the app, you can break it into meals, which is what we encourage everybody to do. And the reason we encourage that is so that we can see the breakdown of what macronutrients you're having, roughly at what points in the day. So we can start to actually see a clear picture on what's going on in your world. But there are people who say, no, I'm only eating one meal a day. That's all I've ever done. That's all I'm going to do. And we massively have to challenge this. And I will categorically say, I have never in my life coached or seen anybody successfully drop body fat on one meal a day sustainably. Ever. It does not exist. And the faster anybody can get that out of their heads, I can guarantee the quicker you will start to drop body fat. Because I think I did a reel on this a little while ago, but you're basically asking me or Coach Kat to believe that you are, let's say you're eating that evening meal at 7 p.m., that you are then fasting for the next 23 and a half hours, assuming it takes you half an hour or less to eat that food. It's not believable. It's not remotely accurate. And what's most likely going on is that you're snacking, you're picking at things throughout the day that you might not even realize that you're doing, and those calories are adding up. Or what you're doing is you might be clearing off, if you're a mum, you might be clearing off children's plates and you just think, I'll just have a chip here. They've not finished it. No one's gonna know. Do you know what I mean? And then that chip turns into half a fish finger with a chip and a portion of something on the side. Then you go and eat your actual food. Or you pick up a biscuit at work. We all know in the office, wherever it is you work, even if you're working from home, these things are really easily accessible, or it's somebody's birthday. There's always cake in the office. But the reality is, there is categorically no way you are having just one meal a day. But also, even if you are trying to convince us that you are, and we don't believe it because the scales don't lie in that sense, but you are not going to be able to get your protein in one meal a day. It's never going to happen. And I can put two women on the exact same calories and scientifically proven the one who gets the protein in versus the other, this one will be the one that drops the body fat quicker, and probably the one that actually drops the body fat at all. So even by saying I'm having one meal a day, even if you did get over 100 grams of protein in that meal, your body's not going to actually be able to synthesize it and use it. So you are massively going to be deficient on the macronutrients, but also the micronutrients as well, because you're not going to be getting anywhere near your 5 fruit and veg a day. You're not going to be getting in any of the goodness that we actually, the vitamins, the minerals that we take in primarily through our nutrients. You're not going to be able to do that on just one meal a day. You're asking your body far too much. So this is why. And to be honest, like I said, this isn't even coaching 101. This is, we are raised on breakfast, lunch, and dinner inside of our culture. So where the one meal a day thing comes from, I don't know. I will never understand that. But if you're not seeing the results on the scales, and you're trying to convince us as your coaches and you're not listening, then you are literally helpless at this point. Or if you revert back to that going, well, I tried it this way. No, but you never tried it our way. You need to understand there's a reason why we coach this, and it does not work to do it that way. So you have to listen to us. High stress levels with work. Now, this is a big one. We're seeing this a lot in check-ins at the moment, and I get it. Like, again, I can go through high stress points, lower stress points. Like, we all, again, if you work in accountancy, then you will have gone through really high stress levels, and they'll be coming up again as everybody's year ends come in. If you work in anything to do with project management, then there might be major peaks in your year where things get a lot more difficult. But the one thing I will say is, and sometimes I have to be quite short with people when they're saying, I'm really struggling to fit 3 hours of workouts in a week, or I'm really struggling to track everything. My answer to this is, and I wish I had a better thing to say, but the reality is, if you do not find the time, if you do not make the time, that's the difference between you staying exactly as you are and actually weaving this in as a lifestyle. We honestly cannot make this process any simpler if we tried. We know if you drop from 3 workouts to 1 workout, the chances of you actually building muscle is very, very slim. There's a reason why the majority of you are on a minimum of a 3-day program. Now, I'm not talking about, there are always going to be weeks that derail us. I'm not lifting once this week because I'm skiing and my entire body is officially broken and I'm 2 days in. But this is it. There are always going to be weeks where you can't 100% hit the target. But if you're missing every single week religiously, then you've got to start to realize, okay, is my job actually completely taking away my ability to do anything without my health and fitness? Because yes, we have to pay the bills. I get it. But do you have to give every single ounce of yourself to your employers? Because I've been in this position before. I traveled the country. I could literally be in Inverness at the start of the week, down to Portsmouth at the end of the week, and then Norfolk, and then Manchester. I could literally be all over the place. And I genuinely thought I was indispensable to that company. And to a point where, so I'd already been given the bonus, the company car, all the perks that came with that job when I worked in the corporate world. And then I was due to get a promotion and a pay rise. And it all got the green light through my manager. And I even said to him, this promotion sounds a lot like what I already do. You know, when you take on more to prove that you are valuable, because I'm sure you ladies will understand what I'm talking about here. And basically, he said, yeah, trust me, when you see the pay rise, you will know that this is a promotion. And then they brought me into the meeting. I had 2 managers at the time, literally sat through the entire job role, everything that was needed. Everything was amazing, smile on both managers' faces. And then they came to the end of the meeting and said, but we've got a bit of bad news. I'm really sorry, but we can't actually pay you any extra for the role because the managing director hasn't signed off the pay rise. So now you're going to have this new title, but because you got the company car and because you got the bonus, we're not going to give you the pay rise. That was the day I decided I was never going to work for somebody else ever again in my entire life because I did not want to be shackled by what somebody else thought was valuable when I felt differently. So the reality is, no matter how good you are at your job, you only have one body. You only have one life in terms of your health and fitness. Now, I'm not saying don't dedicate a decent proportion of what you do to your career. You may absolutely love what you do. You may fucking thrive in your world like I used to thrive in that. But that moment is all it takes to change your entire outlook. So just make sure you are prioritizing yourself because nobody is ever going to do that for you. And if you're burnt out, if you're run down, if you are stressed to the eyeballs and you're not taking your lunch breaks, you're not actually you're being paid to work X hours a day and you're actually working Y amount of hours, and that's coming at the detriment to you spending time with your family, your loved ones, your friends, and at the cost of your health and fitness. You've got to rethink that balance because, like I say, you only get one life. Do you want to work to live or live to work? And that's a decision that you guys get to make. So I would definitely say some of you guys, and again, I know we target successful, career-driven women, but you have to find a level of balance. You have to be able to make sure that you can prioritize yourself for at least a proportion of time that this program actually means that you have to, because otherwise you have to make a decision. Am I just going to accept that this is who I am? This is the way my body is always going to look? Or do I actually want to steal a little bit of time back that nobody will probably notice, that actually might mean I'm more productive? It might mean that I'm in better health for my employer. It might mean I get sick less often. All of these things actually contribute to you being more productive. And that's obviously what we want to be doing. So, and if anyone is in this world of being super stressed, please reach out to us because, again, we have a lot of individual strategies that we can actually work with you ladies on, knowing that this is the field that we offer. So please do let us know if you're in that camp. And again, we can make adjustments towards you if we need to in those moments. Right, overdoing it at the weekends, another one where, again, I mean, we talked about this a few weeks ago, where we've got different categories of people who track some of the time. Thankfully, not a lot of you guys do this, but this concept of almost thinking that your health and fitness is a Monday through Friday thing, especially when your goal is to drop body fat. If you start getting battered at the weekends, if you start smashing back the takeaways, if you start all of these things, we've got to unpick this and we've got to start rewiring because actually it's not serving you. And we do have the odd person, it's not very common, usually again at the beginning of a program, where if they're not dropping the body fat, and again I'll use Victoria as an example, and I can because she's lost over 30 pounds inside of the program, but I distinctly remember Victoria saying to me, Becky is dropping body fat really quickly, because she could see it on my social media, and we joined the program about the same time. How is she doing this faster than me? And we looked through a log and I was like, there's takeaways going in at the weekend. And I was like, the problem is we don't know exactly how many calories those are actually amounting to. So are you prepared to make some sacrifices? And she did. Now, I'm not saying that Victoria has never had a takeaway at any point in that, which proves you don't have to give things up entirely, but what we have to do is start to make some compromises and make some decisions that we're okay with, to go, yeah, you know what, I'll do a fake away. I'll adjust the concept of thinking that I need to have a pizza or an Indian takeaway or a Chinese or all of these things every single weekend. You'd be surprised how many people just do that as a natural part of their habit, or even at McDonald's or whatever it might be. We just have to rein it in a little bit. Same goes with the booze. I'm still raising that in some of the check-ins. So if you're buying a bottle of vodka, which I did see somebody do the other day, sent me a copy of their shopping receipt, and I was like, "Who's the vodka for?" She was like, no comment. I'm like, exactly, exactly. So again, I will be asking for your shopping receipts because I'm that kind of coach. We bear all. If I feel like I need to, I'm going to be asking for it. Prioritizing cardio over strength training. Again, now I'm not saying you can't drop body fat. Absolutely, you can, just by doing the cardio piece. But we categorically, every single woman in this program, I think with the exception of literally one or two, you are in your 30s. Our bone density, and it gets even more rapid as you reach perimenopause, but our bone density starts to decrease from around the age of 30, and it gets rapidly faster as we are aging. There is a reason why we are conditioning you to strength train and actually pack on a little bit of muscle mass. And anyone that saw my social media post the other day about the menstrual cycle, you can see how little testosterone we have in our bodies. No one's going to become the Hulk. It's just not happening. But the reason we're strength training, one, if you ever want to look toned, we've got to drop the body fat and build the muscle. Muscle is tonality. But like I say, we're actually, if you don't want to grow old, and you know those frail old women that you see that really struggle to push a door open or carry their shopping or move around, we have to be strength training. Now, like I said, there are a couple of women in the program who are like, I can't get to the bottom of why, but they love a fitness class at the gym, or they'll go and attend every single class the gym has to offer, but they categorically will not do the program I've set them. I can guarantee, even if they'll drop the body fat through the nutrition piece, they will never have the perception of looking toned. That's the reason my physique looks how it does. And that's probably the reason why you also came into this program, looking at me and some of the other women that we've coached and how we got them there. So that is a big part of this. We need you to do your strength training, but you are paying dividends to your future self. It's almost like with strength training, it's a bit like paying into a pension pot. I mean, I'm not a big believer in pensions, but we'll just pretend they're great and that we're all going to retire at a really good age and that pot might actually be there, which you probably won't. But this is it. You're paying into your future selves. And that's exactly what we want to be doing. We want to have this physique for as long as we can hold on to it. We want to reverse the aging process and we don't want to grow old gracefully. It's the same as putting like an anti-wrinkle cream on. It's that kind of thing. Again, the earlier you actually start to do it, the better your likelihood of being able to live a longer life with the body you're in is going to serve you. So we want to take the training side seriously. And the final one is the all or nothing mindset. And I'm going to do a bit of content around this, but I saw a really good reel today where it was this woman and she'd had like a big laundry basket and she dropped a pair of pants on the floor. And then she was like, well, fuck it, I'll drop the whole basket on the floor. No one would ever do that in the world. And then she put lip liner on and then she just a little bit went out of the line of her lip. So she thought, fuck it, I'm just going to smear it all over my entire face. Nobody would ever do that. So if you have a bad morning where you reach for something that you know you shouldn't have had, it doesn't mean you have to write off the entirety of that day or the week or the month. Do you know what I mean? You bring back the power and own it and say, that's happened, but I do not need it to derail me. I can nip this in the bud and I can move the fuck forward because it's not like, do you know what I mean? We work on this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but the quicker you can get out of I'll start again on Monday. I'll start again on Monday. And we do hit a Monday hard in this program for that very reason. We want the strong mindset to carry us through for the rest of the week. But if you don't quite achieve it, Don't just stop. Don't just give up and go, well, fuck it. Do you know what? That's a write-off of the week. So the quicker you can get out of that mindset, the better that will also serve you. And also, the quicker you can accept what you've done and reach out to us as your coaches or the community, because there is a massive amount of power by sharing what's happened with the other women inside of this program. And then suddenly all of the other ladies coming together to say, yeah, I've done that. I've done that before. And you know what I did? I did this. Or, yeah, I can relate to that. I can too. Yeah. And then suddenly you realize, fucking hell, you know what? You're a part of a really powerful thing here. So you can utilize each other's energy and each other's feedback as well of how they move forward, use it to inspire you. And then if you really, again, if you really want that accountability and somebody to guide you forward, reach out to us as your coaches, because we will be able to elevate your energy to get you back on track. We will be able to push you in a way that you might not feel like you can push yourself. A problem shared is a problem halved. And that is what we're here for. So make the use out of us. And I think that's it, ladies. I think that's all I put. So I'll stop sharing my screen, hang on, and then we will go to the Q&A. What have we got? Press record. So someone did, someone did remind me. I had an Indian the other night. Didn't like it. It was too salty. Had a takeaway since starting the program, and I don't think I'll be going there again. This is it. And again, like I said, I'm not saying we can't ever do that. Like I ate a chocolate eclair today. I've got no regrets. Do you know what I mean? It was a taste sensation. But would I ever go for that back home? Would I ever think, I don't even know where you buy them from. I would never have that. But it was just there and I wanted it. And do you know what I mean? I'm getting my protein in. Massively active this week, burning an enormous amount of energy. I am permanently hungry this week and cannot shake it. So again, and we are trying to get protein up, we're trying to stay hydrated. So it's this kind of going, yeah, you know what, that's a compromise. It was quick to eat, easy to have, and it tasted great. I'm okay with that. Like, you guys can have a takeaway. It's just about getting out of that weekly takeaway habit. Some people even do it more frequently than weekly, which, quite honestly, I want to know where they're getting the money from, because takeaways are extortionate. I don't know how anyone can afford to have 2 or 3 takeaways a week, or fast food for that matter. We do homemade now, so if I fancy an Indian on a weekend, this is it. And the homemade curries are incredible. And depending on whether you make it like a light coconut milk based or you make it a tomato based, like they're so low in calories, and then you can put loads of protein in it. Do you know what I mean? You know, when you get it from a takeaway and you think, I've got 3 bits of chicken, where's the rest of it? Whereas when you make your own, you can chuck the kitchen sink at it, and then you can put some veggies on the side. You're not going to do that at a takeaway. They're not going to give you any vegetables, but you could just literally put some broccoli or even something inside of the curry. Like I say, we tend to chuck spinach in everything we make for that very reason, because you can't taste it. It's completely flavorless when it goes into something quite like powerful like a curry, and you don't even know it's there, and it's so good for you. The one question that I have is, hang on, I have the wall sits on my program and have some knee pain with it. Not sure whether this is common. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't. I mean, I love a bit of knee pain over here. I apparently can't get enough of it, especially this week. But no, you shouldn't be. So what you want to do is make sure that you are at a 40 degrees. What the fuck? That is not 40 degrees. I need to go to bed. 90-degree angle. So it's a bit like a hip thrust. You don't want your legs too close and you don't want them too far out. So try and make sure that you are actively, and this is where might just be worth propping your phone up, Philippa, and just making sure you are at that perfect angle, because again, too far out, you're going to start to bring hamstrings in. Too close, you are going to impact the knees, which is more likely to be the quads and the knee joints. So I would say just make sure you're at that 90-degree angle. I've got a feeling your knees are too close, because that's what's going to bring that muscle group in and that feeling, but you shouldn't really be feeling it. So, and again, let us see a video of it. even if you're unsure, send us a photo of a still or a video, and then Kat and I can give you direct feedback on form. That goes for anyone. You shouldn't really feel pain doing any exercise. So if you ever are, whether it's lower back, whether it's like whatever muscle it might be or area of your body, please send us a recording of the exercise itself, and then we can directly critique in a positive way what you can do to adjust that. Or we might even give you a completely different exercise if it's just not boding well for you. So we can switch things out. So just keep us in the loop and we'll be able to do that. Yeah, definitely send that video. So, Chrissy, I know I have a big night out booked in a few weeks. Teachers don't do it by halves. Is it worth trying to mitigate this throughout the week, running up to it, or just enjoy it and then draw a straight line under it? So, we've got a few options. I'll send you a full video on this as well, because we've done like a full training on this. Now, within this program, what we tend to do is introduce what we call refeed days, which in the diet phase, which I know a lot of you guys have been through, you'll hear a cheat day. And we don't do cheat days. What we do is a day where we come back up to maintenance calories deliberately. So at the moment, you're in a deficit, we'll spike them up to your maintenance calories. So we can time that deliberately around an event that you've got, which is why some of you may have the event, so we don't actually need to coach you through it. But if it's coming up in the future, so Chrissy, that's probably a good one for you, for us to go, right, okay, we'll keep you in a deficit until that night, and then we will deliberately bring up your calories up to maintenance for that night. But what we'll also do in the lead up, so let's say that's a Saturday night, obviously as an example, what we'll also do is bring them down slightly on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you can come back up to maintenance. Plus you can make up that little bit that you've had less in the week also on that night. So you could actually potentially steal the best part of 1,000 calories on top of what your deficit calories would have been. So you can make up a massive proportion of calories just in that one night, and your body will spike back up and realize, oh, I'm not in a deficit anymore, start firing on all cylinders again, and then it'll get back to dropping body fat. Your water weight will go up, but body fat will not. So we will strategize for that one, but don't worry, it's completely normal. And you will know, obviously, Chrissy, I know you're new, but we do not do things in this program. Like if you've got holidays, birthdays, events, celebrations, like we can always plan around it no matter what it is. So yeah, it's just trying to make sure it's not every goddamn week, because that would be a struggle. But it's not, it's a few weeks away. So we've got great time to make progress, plan for that night, and then get straight back on track. And that's the key, getting straight back on track, and then not allowing the Saturday night to turn into Sunday, to turn into Monday. We want to be able to nip it in the bud as fast as we can and get back to it. That's the benefit of having a coach, because we're going to hold you accountable. Struggling with the good morning as I don't feel it as well as the RDL. Who is Zoom user, by the way? That's not, it used to be Becky, but I don't feel like that's Becky. It's definitely not Becky. Who is Zoom user? Who am I speaking to? I don't actually know. So interesting, because the good morning is an RDL. It's the same movement. And what I'm assuming, so again, send us a video, because we'll be able to, hi Kelly. So send us a video, because I'll be able to, again, directly look at your form and see if you're doing them differently. But it is exactly the same exercise. It's just one, you've got a bar here, the other one, you've got a bar lower down or dumbbells lower down, but it is the same thing. Now, a couple of things could be your foot placement. It needs to be directly in the line. So the Smith machine is obviously a fixed bar path. You can't move it, but some are on a, like basically like a diagonal bar path. Some Smith machines are completely straight. Now that's going to dictate where your foot placement needs to be, which again, I would be able to coach you on that when I know whether it's diagonal or straight. And that's going to change where basically where the load is going through your body. If your feet are too far, you're not going to feel it. Too far back, again, not going to feel it. So we've got to get, so it's straight. So you want your foot, so that's the bar. You want your foot, imagine my hand is my foot, to be directly central down that bar path. So when you look to your left and right, make sure your feet are directly central to where the bar's actually going to come up and down. The second thing is you need to make sure the bar is not sat across your traps. It's got to be across your rear delt. So it's a low bar across your back. So you've got your traps right at the top. We're sitting lower. So you want to make sure it's almost coming just above the shoulder blades, like across there. That's another thing, that if that bar's too high, you're not going to feel it in the right place. So that bar placement's got to be a lot lower. And I think it's not called the vault anymore. We've changed the name, but in the exercise how-to library on the app, I do actually talk you through the difference between a high bar back squat and a low bar back squat. So if you watch that, Kelly, you'll be able to see the exact bar placement that I'm talking about. So you want to replicate the low bar, not the high bar, when you're doing a good morning, because again, that's going to put a lot more of the weight through the glutes. But the best thing you can do, honestly, is send me a video, and then I'll be able to actually go through it and have a look at your form and break down the pieces of the puzzle. But you've got to think RDL, RDL, RDL. It's the same motion, but you might just be tweaking how you're doing it. Again, could be foot placement, could be bar placement, could be confidence under the bar as well, because it feels a bit like, oh, an RDL feels a bit safer. Hence why we're not going to program a good morning early on when you join the program, because we've got to make sure that your form is a lot better. So I hope that helps. Vic, I'm away at the moment, so won't be tracking. Should I do my check-in on Friday instead of Thursday, or just wait until next Thursday? There's no right or wrong to that, to be honest. You could quite easily check in just for accountability purposes, even if you're not directly looking for any feedback. But if you just want to know for your own peace of mind where your weight is, accepting there's going to be a bit of water weight there, like my weight will have gone up this week, inflammation from skiing, my muscles are going to be drawing a lot of water in this week, and I'm not eating exactly what I would back home. I'm a creature of habit, but here it is just what we have accessible to us, and whatever the hotel want to cook us of an evening. It's a set menu. So it'll be similar for you. So I would say whatever you are most happy with, do it for self-accountability reasons. Or if you really feel like you're going to freak out on the number of the scales, don't do it. Let your water weight settle back down again and completely leave it until the following week. Or if you just want to check in, let me know how you're getting on, and then just pretend your weight's the same as it was the week before. If that's going to freak you out, then that's absolutely fine. So whichever you would prefer, we're never going to force you to do something you're not comfortable with. Right, I feel like that was a good one. Well done. You're all showing up for yourselves. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you all. But as always, pop any questions through the group chat, and I'll always get to that faster, especially while I'm away. It's just more helpful to have everything in one place that I could just look through quickly. Obviously, if it's personal to you guys, please just message us and reach out. But have a wonderful rest of the week, and I shall see you all on check-in. Bye. Bye-bye, ladies. See you later.